Everything inside Hebrew. Nik is a Slavic ending. So all those words like nudnik, right, and beatnik, which is an Americanization using the Yiddish ending, nik, originally came from Slavic. Russian and Polish use those endings, right? So a nudnik, also a Slavic, someone who bothers you, right? And kolboinik, combination of Hebrew and Slavic. What's made chen? Chen is charm, and chenevdik is charming, the adjective. So we have chen, which is Hebrew, and the dik ending is also Slavic. So chenevdik. And shlomazel comes from German and Hebrew. Mazel means luck in Hebrew, right? Shlim is bad in German. So shlimazel is bad luck. And a person who is a shlomazel, use a noun, is someone who has bad luck. You know the word shlemiel, right? Well, and you may have heard the classic example of a shlemiel and shlomazel. The definition is a shlemiel drops the soup on a shlomazel, right? So a shlemiel is an awkward, clumsy klutz, another word from Yiddish person. A shlomazel is someone who has bad luck. So some of these other words that are combined sources, farblunchit, right, means lost, right? It sounds more desperate in Yiddish though than lost. Farblunchit sounds like you're really lost, right? Taka farblunchit. So the prefix far comes from German, and blunja is from Slavic. So combined together, the word being lost, farblunchit, from two linguistic sources. And now that German prefix far is used a lot in combination with other words or word derivations, or word parts of words, parts of speech. So fargenign, do you know what that means? Sehr gut. Sehr gut is very good, yeah. Gut gesagt, well said. It means stubborn. An action is a stubborn person in Hebrew. Fargenign is the adjective for stubborn, combining Hebrew and German. Verdeiget is worried. A daiget is a worry. One way of saying, we have several ways of saying worry in Yiddish, not surprisingly, right? So Sorgen is to worry also. Verdeiget is someone who is worried. And verschmort is sort of hazy. And shmura also come from Slavic. Verschmort is the adjective for hazy. How about, what is a tam of Yiddish? There are two meanings actually. What? Taste is one meaning of tam, but as a noun, a tam is a simple person or a foolish person. Isaac Bashevis Singer, who I mentioned before, the famous Yiddish author, wrote a famous book called Gimpel Tam, or a story called Gimpel Tam. Gimpel, the simpleton. So tamavata is the adjective for simple. And is tamavata, he's very simple-minded, and it combines Hebrew and Slavic. Okay, well, I can go on with many other examples, but it gives you some glimpse. I wanted to remind you about the richness of Yiddish coming from different linguistic sources and combined in ways that give a lot of choices of how to say things. So there's, I mentioned that there are different ways to say various, like some expressions there, or meanings can have many ways of saying them. For example, if you want to say, don't annoy me, how would you say it? Sehr gut. The chepemichnit, the proper grammatical way would be chepemichnit. But there's chepe also comes from Slavic, by the way, and michnit is Germanic. So you could say it other ways too. Anybody else think of another way of saying don't annoy me? Yeah? Say it louder? Geyavek is just go away. Well, that implies, yes. Okay, you can say that, yeah. What else? Hakmedish kanshanik, sehr good. That's a very popular one. Literally, it means don't bang on the tea kettle to me, right? You can say dreh mir nicht kein Cup or kein Cup. Oh, by the way, I should mention now, I'll remind you, there are different dialects of Yiddish, three main different ones, but many sub-dialects. So I might pronounce things different from the way you've heard it. The way I pronounce things is standard Yiddish, literary Yiddish, highfalutin Yiddish. It's snobbish Yiddish. That's the way I learned. It's standard Yiddish. It's what's called, proper Yiddish. It doesn't mean the other dialects are improper. It's just like you go to school, you learn, hopefully, supposedly, proper English. But if you speak a different dialect, it doesn't mean it's wrong. In fact, it adds to the richness. But there is a sort of standard. In English, for example, broadcasters on TV and radio, they all speak pretty much the same way, right? Whether they're from the south, the north, east, west. Let's say within America, they'll speak pretty much the same way. Slight variations, but you're not going to hear very strong accents from anybody like a New York radio announcer or TV announcer won't have a very thick New York accent. A southern one won't have a very thick drawl, A Bostonian won't have a very thick Boston accent because they're all speaking some variation of standard English, standard American English, and there's also standard English, British English, and Australian, etc. So similarly in Yiddish, there's a standard Yiddish, and that's what I speak. But I know I'm familiar with other dialects. So hak mir nicht kein Chinik, that's the way it's usually heard. I would say usually hak mir nicht kein Chinik, because that's how I learned it. But the more popular way, hak mir nicht kein Chinik, I like better also. So I say it in the non-standard way for you. Okay, so we said chepe mich nit. Somebody back there said there's also chepe sich up, is another way of saying it. Chepe sich up is a variation of don't bother me. Like bother yourself away from me, it really means. Right. You could also say nudje mich nit. Another synonym for bother or annoy is nudje. Nudje mich nit. Bother me not. Annoy me not. Or nudje sich up. Same way we can do it with chepe and nudje, right? Nudje sich up. Or you could say zayn nit kein nudnik. Don't be a nudnik. Don't be a bothersome person, right? Verdreh mir nit kein Kopf. Did I say that one? Yeah. Don't spin around my... Verdreh mir nit kein spoddik. What is a spoddik? Is a cap, little hat. A cap is a spoddik. So don't spin around, don't spin my cap around my head. Don't make me crazy, right? Mach mir nit meshuggah, right? Don't make me crazy. Okay, you can say mach mir nit meturf. Meturf is more obscure than meshuggah, but it means the same thing. Another way of saying crazy is meturf. I have more here. That's der geh mir nit die Ohren. Like, don't shorten my years. Der geh mir nit die Ohren. What else did I say? Zayn nit kein kvetch, right? Now, kvetch actually is not traditionally used in Yiddish properly. It's more considered a slang to use it as a noun. But I like the noun. Anyway, you say kvetch mich nit, don't squeeze me, right? It really means squeeze, kvetch, right? So zayn nit kein kvetch, don't be someone who's squeezing me. I don't know which one I missed. Did I miss any of these? There are just so many going on. But another little a kukarein, looking into the Reichkeit von Yiddish, the richness of Yiddish, especially Yiddish expressions, right? So many different ways of expressing things. Okay, so now, what was that? I think it's time actually that I bring out a helper to help talk about Yiddish and go further. Koidem kol will ich a Trinkwasser, So, first let's drink water. Koidem kol is first of all. Where does that come from? That's from Hebrew. Koidem kol. Kodem kol, they would say today in Israel. Ich hab da, Otto da in dem Chemodan. A chemodan is a suitcase. In dem chemodan is mein chosheve Freund, mein teure Freund, my dear friend, und a Reushelfer, und Behelfer, someone who helps me out. Und is a lialke. Was meint a lialke? A lialke is a doll. So, I don't think there's an exact word for puppet in Yiddish that I'm aware of. So, a doll, similar. So, lialke comes from Polish, by the way, or Slavic, lialke, the word. Okay? Ich will him a Reus nehmen. I'll take him out. Oh, when heißt Agif, incidentally, heißt means his name is Shmendrik. Okay, Shmendrik, get up now. I want to tell you something about Shmendrik. Shmendrik, you can get up. I want to tell you something. When Shmendrik, will you please get up?
I wanted you to pick me up, Jonathan.
No, get up by yourself.
No, I'm tired, Jonathan. Pick me up.
I'll introduce you better. Hold on a second.
No, don't